I love quintuplets, but I don't like the ending, and I explained why in a video. I came across this video, the Quintessential Quintuplets ending, why I'm disappointed, and the arguments made defending the ending stood out to me. Since I'm so salty about the ending, and I think this is a popular argument in defense, I decided to make this response.
I mean, Miko and Nino observe the greatest development, but simply trying hard doesn't entitle them to be with anyone. It shouldn't in a story, and it shouldn't in real life.
I agree about the real life part, but not about the story. Before I explain why, I'll propose a scenario that'll hopefully paint a clear picture. Fuutaro ends up marrying Takebayashi. Wait, you don't know who Takebayashi is? I wouldn't expect you to, because she appears twice. Once in the flashback and once at the festival. Fuutaro seemingly had a crush on her when they were kids, and even the sisters were worried about her closeness to him. If she ended up with him, do you think that would have been a good ending? No, because her romantic relationship with him wasn't set up properly. Stories are about setup and payoff. Real life may not be, but stories aren't real life. In romance terms, if girl A had a ton of setup for a romantic relationship with the MC, which is quality and quantity romantic scenes, but then girl B shows up and wins the race, it would be disappointing because the amount of setup for girl A indicated that there would be a payoff with her. Of course, in a harem, everyone can't win, which is why a good writer would make the winner the girl with the most amount of setup. So if you're arguing that yotsuba winning is completely fine because effort doesn't equal winning, then you should also be fine with Takebayashi winning. I'm willing to bet most of you aren't.
I feel it's more important to recognize this as a charming love story about 6 people growing alongside one another, and Fuutaro just happens to marry one of them.
Nah, once again, this is ignoring setup and payoff. If Fuutaro just happened to marry Takebayashi, it would have been disappointing because she didn't have as many quality and quantity romantic scenes with Fuutaro. By that logic, it's disappointing that Yotsuba won because she didn't have as many scenes as the other 4 sisters. And then by that logic, Miko and Nino were the best candidates.
Fuutaro arrived at his decision not based on the girl in the picture or who the bell kisser was, but based on what he knew, and he gives his reasons. As odd as he was, he came to this decision like a normal person, and it makes sense, started to open up. And yeah, it just so happened that Yotsuba was both the girl in the picture and the bell kisser. If you look back, you'll also see Yotsuba was the 4th Quint to be born and held Futaro's ring finger at the camping trip. Now, was that intentional or coincidental? Who knows?
First, I'll cover the justification. He gives reasons for why choosing Yotsuba made the most sense, but you could do that for all of the 5 sisters. All of them had decent to strong cases for winning, so this argument doesn't work for me. Like I said in my video on the ending, I don't believe this was a coincidence. I believe this was the author's way of trying to make up for the fact that she lacked solid romantic scenes with Fuutaro compared to her sisters. I believe he was trying to justify her victory despite being in last place through foreshadowing and clues, but that doesn't work. Like I said in my video, that may work in a mystery story where we're trying to find out the culprit, but it doesn't work in a romance story.
To that end, I think one could even argue that if we saw too much of Yotsuba and Fuutaro, the other character arcs wouldn't hold as much weight, and possibly the outcome would have been too easy to guess. And where would the fun in that be?
I agree that the ending shouldn't have been too predictable, but it also shouldn't have been unpredictable. Throughout the story, who we think should win should keep changing based on the amount of setup each character gets. Yotsuba having more setup wouldn't affect the other character arcs. I don't understand that argument. And if Yotsuba's development came earlier, and for some reason she had way more setup than the others, all that would need to be done is give the other sisters more setup. Keeping Yotsuba's romance as a plot twist was a garbage decision that was made worse by the fact that she won. Those are the main arguments that bothered me. Apart from that, I agree with his changes. Someone else should have been the bell kisser, and the sisters definitely should have found their own husbands at the end. In conclusion, setup and payoff matters in all genres of story. Quintuplets did not give the best payoff based on its setup, and that's why it disappoints me so much.